Hello. It's Monday. It's Monday, 12th September 2016. 12:09 p.m. Use off this heater. Which makes a very loud sound. And, I just ate my breakfast, so look how my cheeks are so puffed up. They're so puffed up. But my weight today was 67.8. Yes. Yes. I'm at the 67 now. The next goal is 66 point something. So, yeah. Keep on. I gotta do my exercises today. I did it yesterday, so that's good. You know, I have to keep on doing exercises because, I need to maintain my leg muscles and, do the blood circulation and all of that stuff. What do I say now? 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 I was thinking about power, the topic of power, and how power is very addictive, seductive, and illusory. I was thinking about that in the context of career, education, status, that kind of power. It's like because I feel like I'm relatively, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm relatively powerless. But I do have some amount of power in the sense that I live in the house. I'm healthy, relatively. I live in a country where I'm relatively free. Not many. So I have some level of power. Power is sort of like the capacity to do things with your life, or the capacity to influence people. Yeah, that's another thing about power. Is when you have power, you can influence people. And so there are two aspects to power. I was just thinking about this. There's the personal aspect where when you have power, you feel good. It gives you an ego boost, which floods your brain with chemicals, and you feel like, you feel really good because it's rewarding for your some perception of achievement in the society in which you live. It rewards you, so it gets you playing the game, wanting more, be competitive. But then there's also the political dimension to power, is where when you have power, you can impact the world. You can affect change. So you can do good things with that, or you can do bad things with that kind of power. We all have power to some degree, but the more power you have, the more influence you have. So I guess what got me thinking was, because I feel like I've been living for a very long time in this sort of default state of being kind of powerless. It's like when you're at the bottom of this status, or bottom of the barrel. It's like you have nothing to lose. See, the idea of nothing to lose was very appealing to me, because no one could really take anything from me. You see, when I have power, someone can take that away from me, and I feel very paranoid that, oh shit, someone's going to take this from me. But when you don't have power, or you feel like you don't have power, people can't really hurt you by taking it away from you, you see. So I guess you could say it was sort of like a defense mechanism, maybe. But so by not having too much power, whether that be personal or political, I felt kind of invincible. Look, no one can hurt me, no one can harm me, because I really don't have anything. You can't, like, I don't have a job, I don't have, you know what I mean, all of those things. And I'm also like an outsider, you know. I don't have any real friends, or I don't have any of that kind of connections. So I was like this real outsider, and people couldn't really hurt me. But now, going forward, if I go from being an outsider to someone who's going to try and go and be not really an insider, but someone who's going to form social connections and attachments, and or you know, like in career wise, or you build up your status, your portfolio. I'm just thinking about this as a future possibility. Like what? So now you're going from someone who was an outsider, an invincible outsider who was relatively powerless. I mean, I mean, I couldn't really affect change, but I was kind of invincible, you know. So from going from that to someone now, if I get all this power, in like if I get certain privileges that comes with work, with career, with social, political positions, whatever, you know, member of a community, now I feel much more vulnerable, because now the more privileges I accrue to myself, I have to be very careful about how I act, because people can always, I know, I become a target now. See, before I wasn't really a target, because you know I was like a nobody. But now if I try to be this somebody, or if I get privileges, now I become a target, and people can come for me, and I feel much more vulnerable in that position, because now I can lose it. I can lose these privileges. I can lose them. And that can create, from a personal perspective, when you get used to something, and when you, and if, you know, it gives you a certain identity, a certain self-esteem, and if you lose that, whatever you had, those privileges, it does create loss and pain and suffering. So that's like, yeah, I don't want to go through those kinds of negative experiences, right? So maybe that's what they call a fear of success. Maybe is that a fear of losing? I don't know. But so that's what I was thinking about. Like, the more power you have in society, in life, you are actually more vulnerable, because that power, those privileges, they can be taken away. So it makes you a much more of a vulnerable person to attack, criticism, and all of that. Yeah. So, and I find that very stressful, you know, it's stressing me out. Shit, do I really want all this? I mean, it's much more fun just being an outsider. You don't have a lot of responsibility. But then I'll be just wasting my life. Look, I have this opportunity to do something good. I have this opportunity to make changes in the world that I think are beneficial. So instead of, maybe I should develop the mindset that don't do it for me, do it for the greater good. You know, maybe I should develop the mindset that don't get too caught up in the game. Understand that this is just a game, and you're just a player in the game, and you're going to play the game in order to achieve specific ends. So don't get too caught up psychologically. Don't miss the forest for the trees. Don't get too caught up in the minutia. Always have this perspective that you are a player, and that you can insert yourself within this social, political life game system, and you can play it for the greater good. Yes, there might be personal, whatever, ego gratifications that can come along the way, but I am kind of motivated by my ego. I have to say, that does keep me motivated. But I guess it's hard to sort of do that, like where you're. It's hard to separate the personal from the political. Wasn't that phrase? The personal is the political. Was that a feminism phrase? I don't know. Yes. Anyway, so this is what I'm thinking. Like. Don't get too caught up in the game. Try and be a player, but be a conscious player. Don't be have a plan, have an agenda. Don't just walk into the battlefield like, oh, right now, what do I do? Because life is like a battlefield. People are going to take shots at you. So it's like you gotta have a good strategy. You gotta have a goal, a vision, a good strategy. What are you going to achieve? How are you going to achieve it? And you're not doing this just for your ego or whatever. There are goals, there are principles, there are greater things to achieve than just me, making me feel good about myself. Yeah, I like feeling good about myself. I do enjoy the ego points and all that, but I should take my focus away from myself and all the worry I have for myself, and try and focus it towards the bigger picture. So in terms of the bigger picture, I'm just one player amongst many, and it's like this game is like from my position, I don't know how the future is going to turn out, but there are these odds. It's like a gambling thing. If you do these things, there's this percentage of chance that this can be achieved. So you play the odds. You get the information about get the lay of the land, and play the game. Make calculated moves on the game board. I'm just using this metaphor of this, I don't know, game to talk about life and living. So there's that personal thing, and then there's a political thing, and it's just, power is seductive, but I think you need power to make changes in the world. And you can be one of these people who are completely an outsider, but the chances of that happening are so minimal. The chances of an outsider affecting great changes, they're very minimal and rare. But it's much more likely that if you're an insider, in the sense that you're a part of the system, then you can play the odds and try and achieve your goals. Do the best you can in that way. But power is seductive. You don't want to be too caught up in it. It's very, very addictive, because it does give you that ego boost. You see, that's the addiction, is when you achieve something, or when you get praise or whatever, it does make you feel good. I mean, privileges are addictive. When you have, like for instance, if you have lots of money, you can do lots of things. It's an addiction. It floods your brain with chemicals, and you're like, oh, I like feeling this way. It makes me feel so good. So it is an addiction. So, but don't get too caught up in the addiction. I think my advice to myself: don't get too caught up in the. Don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Play it to win it. Win in the sense of achieving your goals. Try to make a difference. That kind of thing. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts on power. How's that? Yeah.